History is brain-blowingly messy. We like to think the past is neatly written in textbooks, but every so often something surfaces that shouldn't exist. Objects turn up in places they have no business being. Relics vanish when people start asking too many questions, and some artifacts straight up defy what we think we know about human history. Some of these items rewrite timelines, others hint at lost civilizations, and a few are so bizarre they make you question reality itself. And the uncanny part? A lot of them have a nasty habit of disappearing under mysterious circumstances, like history itself is trying to cover its tracks. Buckle up, because we're counting down 15 artifacts that should have disappeared, but somehow didn't. Let's start off this list with number 15, the Honjo Masamune. Some swords are just weapons, others are legends. And then there's the Honjo Masamune, a blade so perfect it shouldn't even exist. Crafted by the 13th century Japanese master swordsmith Goro Nyudo Masamune, this katana was known for its near-mystical sharpness, flawless craftsmanship, and beauty that set it apart from any other weapon. For centuries, it was passed down through the hands of shoguns and powerful warlords. Then came World War II. After Japan's surrender, the U.S. military ordered all weapons surrendered. The Honjo Masamune was last seen in the hands of a Tokyo police station in 1946. And then, poof, gone. It never appeared in any museum, wasn't cataloged in any collection, and to this day, no one knows where it is. Did an American soldier smuggle it home? Is it hidden in some private collection? Or did it simply disappear, like it was never meant to be found again? Number 14, the genetic disc. Before microscopes, before modern science, before we even knew what DNA looked like, someone carved a stone disc showing it. The genetic disc, found in Colombia, is made of an impossibly hard material called lyddite and is engraved with images that resemble sperm, embryos, DNA strands, and even cell division. This would be fascinating on its own, except for one small problem. The disc is thousands of years old, way before anyone should have had this kind of knowledge. Some believe it's evidence of an advanced civilization that existed before recorded history. Others suggest it might be proof of extraterrestrial contact, with the carvings acting as a sort of ancient instruction manual for human life itself. Skeptics, of course, claim it's just a coincidence. But let's be real. How many ancient artists just accidentally carved scientifically accurate depictions of DNA? And yet, despite its mystery, the genetic disc still exists. Somehow it wasn't lost, destroyed, or misplaced, almost like someone wanted it to be found. Number 13, the Codex Gigas. It's the biggest medieval book ever written, weighs over 160 pounds, and according to legend, was created in a single night by a monk who sold his soul to the devil. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is a 13th century manuscript filled with mysterious writings, apocalyptic warnings, and a massive full-page illustration of the devil himself. But the real kicker? It shouldn't have survived. The book has been passed through the hands of kings, stolen during wars, and barely escaped fires that destroyed entire collections, always turning up unscathed. In 1648, it was looted by the Swedish army and taken to the Royal Library of Stockholm. But during a fire, when rescuers tried to save it, the massive book somehow flew out of a window by itself. Coincidence? Maybe. But whether cursed, protected, or just ridiculously lucky, this book keeps surviving, when it probably should have disappeared centuries ago. Number 12, the Delhi Iron Pillar. Metal rusts. That's just what it does. Leave iron out in the elements, and in a few years it'll crumble into dust. But not this one. Standing in Delhi, India, the Iron Pillar is a 1,600-year-old column of pure iron that has defied every scientific expectation. It just won't rust. Despite centuries of exposure to rain, heat, and pollution, the thing looks almost untouched. How? No one really knows. Some believe ancient Indian metallurgy was more advanced than we thought, using techniques we still haven't fully rediscovered. Others think it's the work of something more mystical, perhaps a relic of a forgotten age. Either way, this pillar should have corroded and disappeared a long time ago. But here it stands, an iron enigma that refuses to obey the laws of time. Number 11. Göbekli Tepe. History books say humans were simple hunter-gatherers 12,000 years ago, incapable of building complex structures. But then we found Göbekli Tepe, a temple so ancient, so advanced, it rewrote everything we thought we knew about early civilizations. Discovered in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe is a massive site filled with towering stone pillars, intricate carvings, and bizarre symbols. The problem? It predates the invention of agriculture, writing, and even permanent settlements. How did a civilization, supposedly primitive and nomadic, construct something so monumental? And then there's the weirdest part. Someone deliberately buried the site thousands of years ago. Was it to protect it, hide it, or was something buried inside it? The site challenges everything we thought we knew, and the more we dig, the stranger the story gets. Number 10. The Coso artifact. Fossils and rocks tell the story of Earth's past, except sometimes they tell the wrong story. Case in point, the Coso artifact, a spark plug-like object found inside a 500,000-year-old geode. Discovered in 1961 in California, this thing was completely encased in hardened rock, suggesting it had been buried for hundreds of thousands of years. But here's the kicker. It looks just like a 1920s-era spark plug. How did something resembling modern machinery end up inside ancient rock? Some say it's proof of time travel. Others believe it's a remnant of a lost civilization with advanced technology. Of course, skeptics argue that the artifact might not be as old as it seems, and the geode could have formed much more recently. But that still doesn't explain how a mechanical-looking object got locked inside solid rock. Did history just glitch? Or did someone or something drop this piece of tech way before humans were supposed to have it? Number 9. The Loretto Chapel staircase. Some staircases are impressive. This one, it's downright impossible. In the 1870s, the Loretto Chapel in New Mexico needed a staircase to its choir loft. The problem? There wasn't enough space for a conventional one. Then, out of nowhere, a mysterious carpenter showed up, worked in complete secrecy for months, and built a spiral staircase that defies physics. The wooden staircase has no central support, no nails, and somehow holds its weight perfectly, despite breaking every rule of structural engineering. Once finished, the builder disappeared without taking payment or even revealing his name. Some say he was Saint Joseph himself. Others believe it was the work of a secretive master carpenter with knowledge lost to time. Scientists, to this day, struggle to explain how the staircase remains standing without collapsing. It should have fallen apart a long time ago. And yet it hasn't. Almost like someone or something wanted it to stay exactly where it is. Number 8. The Baigong pipes. Imagine hiking through remote China and you stumble upon pipes. Ancient pipes, embedded in rock, sticking out of the ground, and even leading into a dried-up lake. Now imagine being told that they're at least 150,000 years old. That's the mystery of the Baigong pipes, an interconnected system of iron tubes found near Mount Baigong. They look like modern plumbing, except they date back to an era when humans weren't even supposed to be making clay pots, let alone metal pipelines. Tests confirm they're partially made of iron, silicon dioxide, and calcium oxide, materials that suggest artificial origins. But if humans weren't around to make them, who did? Some theories range from ancient civilizations with lost technology to extraterrestrial infrastructure. China has since blocked access to the site, and researchers have struggled to continue studying the pipes. Almost like someone doesn't want us asking too many questions. Number 7. The Lake Winnipesaukee Mystery Stone. A perfect, smooth, egg-shaped stone covered in bizarre carvings found buried beneath several feet of dirt in New Hampshire. The problem? No one knows who made it, why it was buried, or even how old it is. Discovered in 1872 near Lake Winnipesaukee, this artifact features engravings of arrows, a face, and an odd spiral pattern. The craftsmanship suggests it was made with tools far more advanced than anything indigenous tribes had at the time. Some believe it's an ancient time capsule, an offering, or even an object with celestial significance. What's really strange? Scientists say there's no known rock like it in the region, meaning it had to have come from somewhere else. But from where? The artifact has changed hands over the years, bouncing between collectors and museums, but no one's been able to explain its origins. It should have been lost or forgotten. Instead, it keeps reappearing, refusing to let its mystery fade away. Number 6. The Fuente Magna Bowl. Sumerians in Mesopotamia, Incas in South America, two completely different civilizations on opposite sides of the planet with no contact, right? Then explain the Fuente Magna Bowl, a ceremonial vessel found in Bolivia, covered in Sumerian cuneiform script. Yeah, Sumerian. The bowl, discovered near Lake Titicaca, should have been covered in local Andean symbols. Instead, it's etched with markings from an ancient Mesopotamian civilization that existed 12,000 miles away. How did writing from the cradle of civilization end up on an artifact in South America? Some suggest an ancient, forgotten global trade network. Others believe it's evidence that history books are completely wrong about early human migrations. And of course, there's the theory that this is proof of something way bigger. Lost civilizations, Atlantis, or even something extraterrestrial. The bowl, against all odds, remains intact. But its existence makes one thing clear. Ancient history is a lot stranger than we've been told. Number 5. The Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin is either the most sacred relic in history or one of the greatest mysteries ever discovered. This ancient linen cloth bears the faint image of a crucified man, believed by many to be Jesus Christ himself. It first appeared in the 14th century, but its origins go back much further. Here's where things get weird. Every time scientists try to carbon date it, the results contradict each other. Tests in 1988 dated it to medieval times. Then other studies found traces of pollen only found in ancient Jerusalem. Even weirder? The image appears to be photographically encoded, as if imprinted by a sudden burst of radiation, something far beyond medieval technology. Despite multiple attempts to prove it's fake, the shroud refuses to give up its secrets. And every time someone gets close, the tests fail, the results get lost, or new evidence emerges to keep the mystery alive. Almost like it doesn't want to be explained. Number 4. The Piri Reis Map. Maps tell us where we've been, but sometimes they tell us where we shouldn't have been, like Antarctica before it was even discovered. The Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral, is one of the most baffling artifacts ever found. Not only does it accurately depict the coastlines of South America and Africa centuries before modern cartography, but it also shows Antarctica, without ice. Now here's the thing. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820, and the last time its coast was ice-free was at least 6,000 years ago. So how did a 16th century mapmaker know its exact geography? Some believe it was copied from ancient maps made by lost civilizations. Others suggest it's evidence of a forgotten global exploration that predates recorded history. Skeptics dismiss it as a coincidence, but the details are too precise to ignore. The map should have disappeared into obscurity. Instead, it keeps challenging everything we think we know. Number 3. The Klerksdorp Spheres. Nature isn't supposed to make perfectly round, grooved metallic spheres, especially not 2.8 billion years ago. And yet here they are, The Klerksdorp spheres, found in South African mines, are small metal objects with perfectly straight grooves running along their sides. They were pulled from pre-Cambrian rock, which means they were formed long before humans, or even complex life, was supposed to exist. Geologists say they're just natural mineral formations. But that explanation doesn't sit well with everyone. The spheres are too precise, too symmetrical, and too weird to be random geological quirks. Some theories suggest they're remnants of an ancient, unknown civilization. Others say they're proof of advanced technology from billions of years ago, long before humanity entered the picture. Whatever they are, they shouldn't exist. But instead of crumbling into history, they're still here, daring us to explain them. Number 2. The Copper Scroll. Most ancient scrolls tell stories. This one, it tells you where to find billions of buried treasure. The Copper Scroll, discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, is unlike any other ancient text. Instead of being written on parchment, it's inscribed on metal, listing 64 secret locations filled with gold and silver, an estimated $1 billion worth of treasure. Sounds amazing, right? Well, there's a problem. No one's ever found any of the treasure. Some think it was looted centuries ago. Others believe the scroll is a coded message, and we simply haven't cracked it yet. And then there's the weirdest theory, that the treasure still exists, but is deliberately kept hidden by secretive groups or governments. Either way, the Copper Scroll should have been lost to time, forgotten like so many other ancient texts. Instead, it refuses to disappear, taunting historians and treasure hunters alike. Number 1. The Cochno Stone. Some ancient carvings are cool, others are outright cosmic mysteries. The Cochno Stone is the latter. Buried beneath a Glasgow field for thousands of years, this gigantic rock slab is covered in strange cup and ring symbols, some of the most complex ever discovered. The designs look eerily like star maps, ancient calendars, or even portals to another world. Here's where things get even weirder. In 1965, archaeologists decided to rebury the stone, fearing vandalism. Yes, they literally hid it away again, as if protecting something we're not meant to understand. Some believe it's a celestial map left behind by an ancient civilization or even extraterrestrials. Others say it's linked to lost knowledge that could change everything we know about human history. Either way, it should have been forgotten. Instead, it keeps resurfacing, like it refuses to be ignored. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.